This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all.
Cause if I'd spent $100 on Bitcoin 13 years ago, I'd now have 50 million bucks. That's actually how much it's grown.
Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel. We did not consolidate 250 days just to move up 50%. Think about that. Actually, I think this is a really good point. It seems highly unlikely we would build a 7-month base and then pop up 55%, and that would be all she wrote, and what comes next is the end of the world. So, whilst sentiment out there is rapidly being reset, I do still maintain that we should probably be okay from here. And speaking of sentiment needing to be reset, El Prez put out this nice video about 15-16 minutes long talking about the whole Wall Street cheat sheet and sentiment in the markets. And he ran this poll. Okay, here's how I answered it, by the way, where almost everyone said not euphoric at all or mildly euphoric. And he was basically calling this out and saying this is absolutely absurd. And people are a lot more euphoric than they realize. They just don't have the self-awareness to understand how euphoric they are. Now, me with my constantly being accused of being a doomer, right? Me constantly being told I'm too bearish and all of this kind of stuff. Okay, I actually voted moderately euphoric, as you can see here. So even against this backdrop of long, strong and bearish, right? I know full well where we're getting to in the cycle. So yeah, it makes sense now that we will be flushing these people's sentiment. We'll be resetting these people that thought they were not euphoric back to actually being not euphoric, being quite saddened. In fact, let's check FOMO Finder. Photo? What? No, I'm a Bitcoiner, not a photographer, mate. Here we go. So you can see on FOMO Finder, okay, we made it all the way to level 2 of bullishness. So that's not quite dark red that you see at tops, but you can see actually. Notice how back here we went from yellow, which is balanced, to orange, which is level 2, or kinda greedy. Okay, we had to have a big shakeout, reset that sentiment, and then that let us move up into the next leg up, which as you can see was full of red, which is greed, insane greed. And then if we look at the hard right edge, all of this is kind of yellow, pretty balanced, okay, reached at the lows, some extremes in the other direction, I remember covering that at the time. And now of late, look how we've moved up into this orange zone, similarly again to what we did back here, right? So some kind of shakeout is clearly in progress right now, and I hope and still expect on a balance of probabilities something like this to resolve. And again, once it does, up here we should expect to see that level 3 greed come in. But for now, a little bit more shake in the tree, okay, a little bit more freeing up supply. And the reason we need to free up supply is because Michael Saylor keeps buying another $2.1 billion at 98k, nearly 99k per Bitcoin. So pretty wild. And once again, I'm going to poke fun at the MicroStrategy bulls here. I said, look, coming soon. This is all the way back, by the way, the 27th of November. I said, coming soon. Why is Bitcoin going up, but MicroStrategy still going down? Okay, many people think this is impossible. They think that the moment Bitcoin starts to rally, MicroStrategy is going to break to new highs. I don't think that's likely at all. And the reason is, leaders lead and laggards lag. Okay, everything coming for Bitcoin over the coming weeks and months has already been priced into MicroStrategy, and MicroStrategy is now leading on the way down. Based on this, now we can see it. A lot of people are starting to ask the questions, right? Last time we had a 99.7k Bitcoin and a $530 MicroStrategy share price. But now we've got 98k Bitcoin and 400, okay? By the way, fast forward to today, Bitcoin is trading at 97k and MicroStrategy is all the way down at 365. Okay, so if you know, you know. If you don't know or don't believe me, it's because you're new to the market. And the reason I'm being so flippant and dismissive about this whole thing, okay, is it's a way of filtering out those people that have just showed up to market and already have all the answers. Since you already have the answers, you don't need to be here. You're free to leave. For everyone else, if you know, you know. One final thing, okay, you can see this all over the place, and I continue to make the case you're going to continue to see this. My understanding is MicroStrategy will keep going up as long as Bitcoin keeps going up. But again, right, just like last time, yeah, we've already seen it before. So pay attention. Doesn't mean it has to repeat. It just means on a balance of probabilities, it will, until such time as an invalidation occurs. So now that we've flushed all of the noobs and the overly emotional investors out of the space, okay, let's get into some real alpha. Russian parliament is allegedly about to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve as well. Now, this is absolutely insane to me. It's insane that this is all happening right in front of us. It's insane to me that we are actually seeing game theory play out potentially, right? But I still kind of make the case it doesn't make sense that they're going to announce it first, then buy it at all-time highs above 100k. It doesn't really make sense to me. It makes more sense that we're going to see a big push and then an extended bear market, and it will come out that they bought everyone's Bitcoin during the big extended bear market. And it might look something like this from Tony, right? We've already had 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're now working on that fifth of the fifth. Okay, once we complete this, it will create an earlier than expected top, which gives us more time in the 4-year cycle to create a bear market into a 4-year cycle low. And I make the case that it's all through here that you will see the narrative change from we're building a strategic reserve all around the world to we're no longer interested because Bitcoin is dead. And then once this whole thing has played out and we find a 4-year cycle low and a bottom and it starts to rally, somewhere in here, they will let you know, actually, they were buying the whole way down. They were creating the strategic reserve the whole time. It's just they didn't want you to know that because they needed you to sell your Bitcoin to them so that they could start to accumulate it at suppressed prices before they let everyone else know that actually they were serious about a strategic reserve the whole time. I also found this. Long-term holders are actively selling coins with an average purchase price of 23.5k and an average profit of 326%. But what's really interesting about this metric, okay, is look how insane this got in the prior bull run. And let's be honest, this top was rather suppressed, okay? That was by no means a huge blow-off top moment for Bitcoin. It definitely was a blow-off top. The performance is nothing to be sneezed at. It still smoked every other asset class. But relative to the expectations where people were thinking it was going to be a 2017 bull run repeat all the way up to 6 figures and beyond, this was kind of lackluster, okay? But take a look at the amount of profit being realized during that run up, okay? Absolutely massive. And when we compare that to today, we are nowhere near seeing the kind of money extracted and locked down from this bull run that we saw last time around. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is expect this green metric to continue to climb, expect it to look something like this as the price squeezes higher. And that is simply because there's no other way to generate liquidity, okay? If you want to free up people's Bitcoin, then the only way to do that is to move it higher. Once we are a lot higher, people will start to think, okay, I don't mind, I'll let it go for that, okay? And that's how we bring new supply in, and that's how we start to oversupply the market before we have this big bear market meltdown. So, other than that, okay, what's going on? Not a great deal, okay? You can see we're still, roughly speaking, following my yellow squiggle. We are also, if I turn this little thingy on in the data window, roughly speaking, following the yellow fractal, okay? The whole thing kind of makes sense. The interesting thing for me at the moment is the stock market. So, we've got the making of a swing high for the major indexes. You can see here's the S&P, that is a swing high so far. Doesn't mean it couldn't invalidate today, but same deal for the NASDAQ and same deal for the Dow. And look where it coincided, right? Right where I was kind of expecting that it might, should we have to entertain major tops coming in. Now, I'm not calling tops here because there's no breakdown, right? But what I have done is add a trend line here for the S&P 500 that I'm going to be watching very closely. I think I'm probably going to have to at least take some profit if we break down from there. And certainly if we lose the third angle, then for sure we've got to take some profit. So if I zoom in a little bit and take it off log, you can see, it shouldn't have been on log by the way, you can see right here, we're getting ready to break down. So if we do, expect me to be taking some profit out of there. And yesterday I notified members as well that I thought it was time to get long the VIX. So what I'm hoping is that we get a good strong pop up to around 20-ish at least, okay? And that will ensure not only do I not have to give back any of the profit from the indexes, but I'll probably still be able to walk away with some profit overall. So yeah, we'll see. A lot of people were saying to me, the members yesterday, they're like, is this the VIX trade? And I don't know. If that is a major top for the stock market and what comes next is, you know, this yellow squiggle, big breakdown, bear market, that was the top, then yes, this is the VIX trade. But how do we know? Well, we don't. Okay, the only thing we can do is wait and see how it plays. I don't really want to call tops here. I don't think it's super likely. But then again, this was what I was thinking, as you can see from the yellow squiggle, would make a lot of sense. So we're going to find out, right? No one wants to call a top here, I'm sure of that, which again is quite a nice backdrop to see what's going on out of there. Gold is behaving a bit strange, and a lot of the members are asking me about this. Oh, is it going to break out? Is it going to confirm an early cycle low or whatever? I still think it has one more low left in it. If, however, what we see is this kind of structure repeats sideways for another week or so, even if it breaks out slightly, something like this, then we might have to mark it as a timing-based low. Very rare. I don't think that's what's coming. And the reason is silver is showing us the way for now at least. Okay, rejection at resistance, looking to roll over. And when we zoom out, looks an awful lot like the yellow squiggle is going to play out, right? So I still think there's one more low in there for the metals. But as ever, the best thing to do is not get too emotional, right? Not get too much FOMO. Not be like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen here? Okay, except we don't know. On a balance of probabilities, there's another low left in it. And if the market shows us something different, we can react to that. So that's all there is to say. Bitcoin, like I said, still doing that yellow fractal if we pop it on log. Okay, look, right, so who cares? Happy days. And a couple other things I need to point out. Dixie, I reckon, is making a cycle low as we speak. If we draw a trend line from here, very good chance that's it. Very, very good chance that's the low. There may be one final low left in it, okay? But it actually kind of makes sense if we look at gold. If that is the daily cycle low, which would be day, let's see, day 23, okay? So that is perfectly legal and qualifying. And that tells us that we are going to see the dollar, the Dixie, start to rally out of a daily cycle low here. That dollar strength should coincide with gold hitting resistance and having one final flush to the downside into that daily and weekly cycle low. So gold and the Dixie are in alignment. They both kind of suggest from the cycles and from each other that there's another low left in gold and that the Dixie has probably bottomed here. So again, we may see one final undercut of the low, may have to move this to here. We don't know just yet, but we're getting close to finding the bottom of the daily cycle. And then, okay, if you know, you know. And if you don't know, put in the work. Oh God, you can tell how sick I am of like the everyone's an expert phase, right? But yeah, anyway, they'll be gone soon. I'm your boy Camel. I hope you're doing well in life. Until next time, cheers, bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel Finance got the markets key. Taking us stormies on a bumpy ride.